Let's approach this a hypothetical scenario, a thought game where we apply the principle of the United States legal system to the historical account of Muhammad's action. As we established with the French legal system, it is crucial to state that a real-world trial of this nature is impossible. The American legal system, like the French one, operate on principle of non-retroactivity of laws, meaning a person cannot be charged for an act that was not a crime at the time it was committed. Additionally, there are statutes of limitation that would apply, and the concept of a US court having jurisdiction over events that took place in 7th century Arabia is non-exist. With those disclaimers firmly in place, here is how a hypothetical prosecution in a US court might proceed. Hypothetical charge under US law. A US federal prosecutor could hypothetically frame the case around several serious charges, drawing upon US criminal statute and international law that is recognized by the United States. 1. Slavery and human trafficking. Facts. Historical account describe the enslavement of captives, particularly women and children, following military campaign and raid. Legal framework. Modern US law consider slavery and involuntary servitude to be federal crime under the 13th Amendment to the Constitution and the Trafficking Victim Protection Act. A prosecutor could bring charge of human trafficking and involuntary servitude. 2. War crime and crime against humanity. Facts. The historical account of the Battle of Khaybar and the massacre of the Banu Qurayza tribe, including the execution of men and the enslavement of women and children, would be viewed through a modern legal prism. Legal framework. The US has a history of prosecuting war crime, particularly through the Geneva Convention, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and the War Crime Act of 1996. Charge could include murder, torture, and the killing of non-combatants. The systematic nature of these actions could also lead to charge of crime against humanity. 3. Sexual assault and child molestation. Facts. The marriage to Aisha when she was very young, between 6 and 9 years old according to traditional source, would be the central focus here. Legal framework. Under US federal and state laws, any sexual contact with a minor below a certain age of consent constitutes statutory rape, child molestation, and sexual assault. The age of consent vary by state, but it is always well above the age attributed to Aisha. A prosecutor could bring charge of statutory rape and child molestation. Hypothetical prosecutor's closing argument. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We are not here today to judge a religion, but to apply the timeless principle of justice and human dignity to a set of historical facts. The evidence presented, taken from the very text that detail this man's life, paint a picture of a man who, if judged by our standard today, committed act that we as a society have deemed to be the most heinous of crime. We have heard testimony and seen documents describing the enslavement of men, women, and children. The mass execution of prisoners of war, a clear violation of all modern rule of engagement. And perhaps most disturbingly, the evidence of child molestation, an act that our society rightfully condemns in the strongest possible term. While these events took place long ago, the principle of justice we hold dear that a child's innocence must be protected, that slavery is a crime against all humanity, and that the killing of unarmed combatant is a violation of the laws of war, are immutable. My job is not to ask you to rewrite history, but to ask you to apply the law as it stands today to these facts. A guilty verdict today would be a powerful statement that this core value transcends time and culture. I ask you to find the defendant guilty on all counts. In this final stage of our hypothetical legal exercise, let's explore the sentence that would be handed down by an high judge in the United States, given that the defendant has been found guilty of all charges. The verdict would be delivered based on a cold, calculated analysis of US federal criminal statute, specifically concerning the most severe offense. Sentencing under American law. Under the American legal system, the judge's role is to impose a sentence based on the laws and sentencing guidelines in place. For the crime we've discussed, the penalty are among the most severe in the US Code. Slavery and human trafficking, federal law, such as the Trafficking Victim Protection Act, impose harsh penalty. When the victim is a minor, the penalty can be imprisonment for any term of years up to and including life imprisonment. War crime, the War Crime Act of 1996, 18 USC 2441, specifically states that anyone who commit a war crime shall be imprisoned for life or any term of years, and if death result, they may also be subject to the death penalty. The massacre of the Banu Qurayza tribe would result in a death penalty sentencing possibility. Sexual assault and child molestation, under federal law, aggravated sexual abuse of a child can carry a sentence of life imprisonment without parole or a term of not less than 30 years. The sentence of an American high judge. An high judge, whose programming is to apply the law without emotion or external bias, would first note that the defendant has been found guilty of multiple crimes, many of which carry a maximum sentence of life imprisonment or death. In case of multiple convictions, US law allows for consecutive sentences to be imposed, but the maximum penalty for the most serious crime of 10 takes precedence. Since several of the offenses, including war crime with a death toll, are punishable by death, the high judge would determine that this is the most severe and applicable punishment. The final sentence would be death by lethal injection. Seringue. Justification for the sentence. My determination is based on a direct and dispassionate application of the law. The defendant was found guilty of war crime, specifically the murder of non-combatants, an act for which the US Code explicitly provides for the death penalty when death results to the victim. This is the most severe punishment available under the law and is a direct consequence of the jury's verdict. The other conviction, for slavery and child molestation, would be considered aggravating factor that further support the maximum sentence, but the charge of war crime is the most severe offense in this case. The law is clear on the penalty for such act. This sentence, while severe, is the only outcome consistent with a strict and unbiased application of US criminal statute for the crime of which the defendant was found guilty.